Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Woollentwine Fibrestudio knitting podcast. My name is Jule, and I'm the dyer and maker behind Woollentwine Fibrestudio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany, where I play with botanical dyes and natural yarns. Welcome back to a new video of me. In this one, I want to showcase a new yarn base that I am introducing into my lineup. And this one is incredibly special. I'm so happy to be able to share this with you. And it has a very special story. Not only is it wonderful, like from its fiber content, but it also has a very special story. So the new yarn that I want to share with you is very special, as mentioned, and I've witnessed the making of this in a very special way. So there will be a little bit of story time in a bit, but first of all, let me just jump right in and share it with you. This is Nurture, a new yarn that is 100% finnsheep wool and a single ply, which is the first time ever that I have this kind of yarn. And yeah, it's quite interesting. It's a fingering weight, has a 380 meters per 100 grams, and it has been sourced and spun all in Finland in a very, very small range around the mill that it has been spun at. And this is just makes my heart sing. It is very, very soft, like always very subjectively said, but it's kind of fuzzy soft. It has this, I don't know if you can see, but it has this very interesting halo that's almost like, not like a mohair, but it's very fluffy. I can definitely tell also in the finished projects that I knitted that it's very, very fluffy. And yeah, also has a beautiful sheen, if you can see that. And yeah, it's a very, very fine fleeces. I've seen them actually before they've been spun. And it's very, very beautiful. These are the first two undyed shades that we'll be stocking. This one is Porridge and this one is Lakeside. And for the first launch, we also have a limited edition color. That's this one. It's called Midnight, and I'm sharing it all in depth in the dedicated February collection preview that I'm going to link somewhere. But yeah, these will be available upon initial launch. And what makes this yarn special is not only that it's very, very sustainably produced, a single ply yarn that is just super unique, and also available in different natural colors. But what makes this incredibly special is its story and background. And for this, I want to invite you to get with me on a little journey where I try to share a little bit of the footage that I recorded when I visited the place where this yarn was born. It all started about, I would say, 1.5 years ago, when I was very fascinated by the work of Annina, or Iden Kehramö, as her business name is. She is a sole entrepreneur, and she runs her own spinning mill all by herself, which is incredible. Not only from the logistical point of view, but also from the physical point of view. Like, working with big machinery and wool is hard. And I was so inspired by her work, and I kind of had the dream to work with her. So I reached out and I got the nicest message back And she was very eager to work with me. We both share the passion for natural dyes, so that was actually quite nice. And we got along from the very first minute. And so, yeah, we had a few emails and calls. And as I was already planning a trip to Finland to visit my friend Jenny Ansa of Kotikotoni, you might know her from her knitwear design, we kind of had the crazy idea at some point while we were talking about the trip that why not visit Annina's mill? And why this is crazy, you might ask. It is crazy because it actually is quite far away from Helsinki, where Jenny lives. So yeah, I guess I'm going to start sharing a kind of crazy travel journey with you, and I'm going to add a couple of clips that we filmed back in last year's summer, and I really hope you will enjoy coming along this slightly crazy story. So back in last year's summer, Jenny and I took the train from Helsinki and traveled all the way up to Nurmes, which is where Annina's mill is located. And it is actually around a 6-hour ride by train. And at some point you actually change to a really, really small train and travel through the Finnish countryside, which is really, really nice. And it actually made me feel so good. It was lovely to, you know, have the train ride through all the woods and the beautiful nature. And it was just very inspiring. And Jenny and I were knitting and chatting away on our way to visit the mill. And yeah, when we arrived there, Annina picked us up and we were actually able to visit her mill. And I was at some point like close to tears because I was so excited to actually witness this process, because for so many years I have been, you know, working with mills. I have visited some mills, of course, and I have worked with yarn daily for over 5 years now. But, you know, witnessing this, like from how we sat together and developed the yarn to the point where I could see the machines and the process and feel the fleeces and everything that I kind of dreamed up with Annina before. It was really touching for some reason. I don't know. It was just so special. And yeah, we actually spent the whole day at Annina's mill and witnessed the full process. Like we did a full kind of yarn cycle, production cycle. And what's so incredibly special about this is that I don't know how familiar you are with things, but it's very rare that the yarn or the wool that gets processed at a mill is actually even sourced by the mill and washed there. So Annina does all of this herself. She drives to the shepherds, she sources the fleeces, she picks them, she washes them, and then it gets to her mill and is actually processed by herself. She witnesses every step, and this is also what kind of inspired me so much about her work, because it's like 100%, we know 100% what happens at every step, and that is just so incredible. And the fact that she does all of this almost alone with family support, and you know, but it's just very inspiring. And yeah, Jenny and I spent the day with Annina at the mill, and we witnessed the yarn production going on there, and it was just so cool. It was so much fun, and yeah, I got so excited about everything, and you know, I kind of felt as if I was just soaking in all of the knowledge like a sponge, because it was just, even though I have been working with mills for so long and I know a lot about the process, there's always something new to, you know, a different type of machinery, a different type of fleeces, and so it was very, very inspiring. And yeah, I actually saw all the machines and talked to the lady and actually became friends with her who made this yarn. And this kind of is just different in a sense that it's kind of the absolute climax of what I've always wanted to do. Like not only contribute to a more sustainable knitting community with my work, but also be able to join creative forces with other people who share my values to this extent is not easy to find. And also to find people who are so, like, you feel so connected to from the beginning is very, very rare, I believe. And yeah, it's crazy how the story of this yarn kind of not only involves the technical steps of the making and the creative process of creating the yarn, but it also involves such a big personal part of me, and it actually kind of resembles, that's also why it's called nurture. Have I even said that before? I don't know. The yarn is called nurture because I kind of felt that this is the right word to describe how I can, like, how much growth I felt and how much connection I felt from these relationships that I was building through the production of this yarn. It was just lovely, from, you know, traveling with a friend to see the mill, deepening our friendship on the way, and kind of, you know, experiencing this together, and also getting to know Adnina, who, you know, it clicked with immediately. And yeah, this whole story of this yarn is just like so full of friendship and growth. And yeah, I hope it will not only like be the beginning of a big project that kind of nurtures our friendship forward, but also nurturing the sustainable production of yarn in this kind of extent is what kind of really, really gets me about this whole thing. It's just, yeah, it's almost emotional that this was possible to do. And yeah, I just really hope that it kind of reflects what this yarn means to me and how the whole story actually came to life. Yeah, this is definitely a different type of production. And while I know that this is kind of not always possible, it's, you know, there will always be like larger productions and other opportunities that I want to take, because it also adds to what I can contribute as an entrepreneur. But this kind of story and how it all came to life was just so special. We spent one night in Nurmes in the Karelian countryside, so that is like in the northeast of Finland. We spent a night there and actually were able to take a plunge in the lake, which is apparently something very traditional in Finland. So lake swimming in the summer seems to be one of the things in Finland. And yeah, so we did that, and it was just so nice. And it was lovely to also not only be alone with my kind of emotional state about this whole thing, but also to be with a friend and to be able to share this experience with a friend. It was just really, really special, and I'm incredibly thankful that I was able to experience this. And yeah, the outcome just has this beautiful like memory thing for me, that it actually reminds me of the trip and the experiences I had while in Finland last summer. So yeah, I hope this was a bit interesting and that you felt invited to join us on our trip that we took last year and kind of, you know, feel what we felt when we were there. Because yeah, as someone who's an enthusiast about wool and wool processing and stuff, it's something very special to visit a mill and see how, you know, the fleeces are turned into yarn. That is just, I mean, even if you know theoretically how it works, it's just such a cool experience. And spinners out there will know how magical it is probably, but still, like, seeing a whole mill do what we can do on the small scale with our hands, it's just, yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, what Annina does is absolutely incredible. And not only is she a very inspiring woman, but also incredibly funny. We had a little photo session with Jenny right kind of somewhere in the woods in Nurmes. I remember this very fondly, and we had so much fun. It was just incredible. So yeah, it's not not often that you meet someone and you're like clicking immediately and you have the same type of humor as well. And yeah, even despite the language barrier that we might have, because we're both like, we cannot communicate in our mother tongues or anything, it was just incredibly hilarious. We had the best time. And yeah, a little last reference from this trip are the colorway names of the undyed shades. So this one is called Porridge and this one is called Lakeside, just because porridges apparently are a very famous thing in Finland that you eat there. Different types of like grains are eaten in porridges there. And then this one is Lakeside, just because we were by the lake and apparently even had a hotel room where we could overlook the full lake. It was beautiful. I hope I have some footage of this that I can share with you, but it was incredible. And then last but not least, the limited edition that I don't know if I will have in future launches, but that will be launching with the February 25 collection is Midnight. And this is actually inspired by Annina mentioning it looks a bit like a starry night because you can see those tiny little gray flecks over here. And secondly, because I for the first time witnessed being somewhere where the sun does not really set in summer. And yeah, I remember standing up around, it must have been around midnight actually, and taking a picture because it was almost daylight bright outside. And yeah, that was also a very special experience because yeah, I live in the north of Germany, but it's not that far north. So I've never seen something like that and it was incredible. Overall, the whole trip was incredible. But yeah, I hope you kind of get the sense of what this means to me and how special this yarn is. So yeah, I just really hope it kind of transfers. Kind of hard to share this in this more personal kind of way, but I just hope you can feel along maybe a little bit. So, but enough rambling and enough emotional stuff. Let's get to the hard facts. So to showcase this yarn, I have a few samples and swatches that I want to share with you. So first of all, we have this swatch. I only have this one in the dark midnight colorway, but this is the swatch held single. And as you can see, it's not like the yarn is not completely super even, which is what I really, really like about it. It's more like a very natural, wild nature kind of. And it has this beautiful halo. I don't know if that's visible somehow, but yeah, it has this beautiful halo. And with held single, I would say you can totally go from anything between 3 to 3.5, maybe even 4 for a really open gauge for a shawl, millimeter needles. So it's kind of like a pretty true fingering weight yarn. But what's great about single ply is that it kind of, you know, it always drapes quite a bit, but not too much also. I mean, this has quite some bounce as well, as you can see. It might even be more visible in the swatch where we held it double. So this is the Lakeside colorway held double on 4.5 millimeter needles. And here you can also see how it bounces. But also how it like nicely drapes. Like it's not very stiff. And so yeah, it also works very well double-stranded. Like the two samples that me and my mom knit, they are both knit double-stranded, mainly because we only had 3 weeks to knit them and it was quite tight. So I kind of didn't dare to do a fingering weight sweater in that time frame. But yeah, it really works super well to be held double. And that one results in a pretty good DK weight gauge between 20 to 21 stitches. And I think For my gauge, I used 4.5mm needles, or even 4. I think I'm gonna put the info down below, but we definitely tested, and 4 and 4.5mm worked really well. I think you could even go up to 5 or down to 3.75 in case, you know, you wanted a bit more of a denser or more loose fabric. But yeah, overall it's quite versatile, also held double. And yeah, this is, by the way, the swatch of the Midnight Black, with also held double with 4mm needles. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the one. So this is how it looks. Definitely still has some drape. And this was even, I think this was even knit by my mom, who is a slightly tighter knitter than I am. So yeah, so far about, let me quickly adjust, no. So far about the swatches, but yeah, it's really, like, it's a very special feeling yarn, and what I really like about it is that it's kind of like, it has this fluff. I don't know if you can see it maybe better in the light colored one, but with the halo it has and the kind of fuzzy texture, it's so warm. I have not tried such a warm yarn in a really long time, but at the same time it feels really breathable. Like in the February collection preview, I'm wearing one of the samples and I'm sat right next to a radiator, so it's quite warm here, but I still didn't feel as if I would overheat easily in it. So yeah, it's just really nice. I also made a swatch of garter stitch on 5mm needles with it held double, because I'm actually considering to make a Sophie hood or any kind of hood with this. Just because, I don't know if you can see, but my hair is very long and I always struggle with if I want to wear a hat or something, but I don't want to have my hair down, and if I want to have it up in like a ponytail or like a bun or something, it's almost impossible to wear a hat over it because it's just ginormous. So yeah, I immediately, when I saw it and I realized how nice and fluffy and like elegant it looks, I was like, I kind of want to make a hood. I want to jump on the train and make a hood out of it. But yeah, so far about my personal knitting plans. If you have a favorite hood pattern that you worked that is from a size inclusive designer, because I know there is one that's very popular, but the designer unfortunately does not include many sizes in the general patterns, and you know, I try to be as inclusive as I can on this channel, and so I usually avoid when there is not a wide range that anyone could knit. So yeah, if you know a good hood pattern, leave it down below, please. But yeah, from the samples, from the swatches, let me get to the samples, because for this I kind of, the yarn came and I was so inspired and just wanted to have the coolest samples for this, but I had a vision of, you know, having one rather more classic texture thing and then one very clear with very like clear lines and something more modern. And this is the outcome of my vision. I don't know if I can hold it up nicely. But this is the Dijon Polo, how do you say that? But yeah, this is such a beautiful design, and it's in a DK weight gauge, so we used Nurture held double for this, and I love it. I'm wearing this in the February collection preview, and it's so cool. Like, this is also very cropped because I wanted to wear this with a white pair of linen pants, and I just love how it turned out. It has this folded collar. I don't know if it's visible. This folded kind of polo collar, and then it has these little mother of pearl type buttons that we found to put on it. And yeah, pretty wide bell shaped sleeves, and then some tubular bind off at the cuffs, and the hem features a 2x2 rib and a little I-cord bind off. I don't know if that's visible, but yeah, it's lovely. You can see the drape here as well. Like, it's, even though this is knit on, I think, 4mm needles, and my mom is more of a tighter knitter who made this sample, by the way, it's super drapey, like, as you can see. And it's so nice, it wears really nicely, and I can see myself wearing this so much. But yeah, I will make sure to post exact yarn amounts in into my Ravelry projects that I'm gonna put down below. And it's just super nice. We made size 4 just because the sizing is relatively generous, and I was afraid, like, I wanted quite some ease, but I was afraid that it might be too much ease if I went for size 5 like I often do. But yeah, that is my Dijon polo that I'm going to wear all of the time. I can already see that. Yeah, that is the first sample. Let me show you the second one. You might have had a glimpse at this on Instagram, but this is my Margot cardigan by Simone of Rust Knitwear. I showed this in my latest podcast episode as well, that I'm gonna link somewhere, where I just shared my current knitting projects. And yeah, at that point I only had part of the body and a little bit of a sleeve left done, but now I have finished it, and it was a wild ride to finish, just because I didn't have a lot of time, and the double knitted button band, I will say, took a while. But yeah, I used the Lakeside colorway, the undyed colorway in the light gray, and I used it held double as well. So here you can see that it's still quite drapey, even though there is texture in it. And yeah, the pattern is just absolutely beautiful. It worked wonders with this yarn. Like, I think it even almost looks as if that it has mohair in it. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, just in case you try to avoid mohair but would like a little bit of the glowy, oh, here you can see it quite well, I believe. If you could like the glowy halo look in a yarn, then this one might be for you. So yeah, this is my Margot cardigan. I hope I can add also some pictures of me wearing it. It's very comfortable, roomy, and beautiful. I especially like this little details at the they are at the hem, the cuffs, and also on the sleeve. There's this little lateral braid kind of detail, and yeah, it's just really pretty. Yeah, I hope I can have another like in-depth chat about this in my next podcast episode. But so far I wanted to give you a little idea of how this yarn behaves and how, yeah, it overall looks knitted up. So far about my Margot cardigan. Warm recommendations of this pattern. It's lovely to knit and a lot of fun. So yeah, speaking of patterns, if you need some inspiration on what you can do with this yarn, as per usual, I have a full list linking wherever. I have a little bundle of patterns that I'm bundling up on Ravelry. So if you use that platform, you can just click the link and then you can see my little bundle with recommendations of patterns that I think should work really well with this yarn. So just in case you need a little inspiration, I have those bundles linked down below as well. And yeah, if you're unsure whether something would work or not, I'm always happy to share my opinion. Of course, I can never predict how it works with your tension and such. But yeah, feel free to email me at hello@woollentwine.com, that I'm also going to link below, if you need a little help. As always, all info about this yarn will also be on my base page. So just in case this was all a bit, you know, a lot of talking and a lot of info, you can reference meterage and composition and everything in my base page, and I will also link all interesting info about it there so you can reference it back. Yeah, the first batch of this yarn is going live with the February collection 2025, and I will link the preview of all the colorways that I dyed down below. If you're into the midnight colorway that I just showed, it will be available in limited quantities. So yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, it's super special, but there are not so many black sheep out there that we can make indefinite amounts of this. So yeah, I always recommend to be on time if you want to snag this colorway. But yeah, I think that is it so far about this incredibly special yarn. I don't know what to say anymore than I'm so happy that I'm able to do this as my job, and the situations I witnessed during the making of this yarn is what actually makes me like so happy about what I do, and kind of also proves that, you know, it's worth doing all of these things and always sticking up for your values, because you might just meet people and cross paths with like-minded people, just like it was for me with this situation and with meeting Annina. And yeah, also a big thank you goes out to Jenny for accompanying me in this super special journey. I don't know where I would have been without her in some of the situations, because I was just overwhelmed in a very good way, and it's super nice to witness this with someone else, like not being alone with this, and just, you know, sharing the joy, I would say. And I'm just so happy that she was there with me. So yeah, if you like the look of this very friendship inspired yarn, then yeah, I hope it's something for you, and you are very warmly invited to check out what colorways I dyed on this for the first launch. And yeah, I guess without further ado, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and sticking to the end if you did. And until next time, see you and happy knitting. Bye!